You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Welcome to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with your host, Rosalind Sedaka. Join Rosalind each week on a journey toward overcoming life's many challenges to achieve peace, empowerment, and positive transformation. It's time to relax, unwind, and transform your life with Rosalind Sedaka.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sedaka, and you are listening to the Going Solo Network, WGSN-DB, and our show is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living with Rosalind Sedaka. As you know, I'm founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, and every time we meet, we talk to people who are experts in the world of divorce and relationships and empowering you to get back on your feet and have the best possible future you can create. And today is no different. I'm very pleased to be introducing you to someone who will be offering very good insights into alternatives that we all want to know about when it comes to the divorce arena. Her name is Tracy Ann Moore-Grant, and she's been a family law attorney and a mediator since 2002. And Tracy Ann has also become the founder of the Amicable Divorce Network, which was started in Forsyth County, Georgia, and is spreading around the nation because it's offering new resources and new alternatives. And as Tracy Ann likes to say, she's changing things one divorce at a time. So welcome, Tracy Ann.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. So I'm very interested in learning more about the Amicable Divorce Network. And so why don't we start by telling us why you founded the network?
Well, I founded it as an attorney. I've been practicing for about 18 years, and I also serve as a mediator, a guardian ad litem, and different roles within the family law court system that we have here in Georgia. And I was coming across a couple of different problems, and I didn't have a good solution to. One was a very reasonable client would come to me wanting a low conflict resolution to their divorce, had already worked out maybe some of the terms or hoped to in their divorce, but not all of them. And they would often ask me, how long is this process going to take and how expensive is it going to be? And as an attorney, I had to tell them time and time again that I didn't know the answer to that because I didn't know what attorney the spouse was going to hire. And that wasn't something that I could control. And that person would have a large impact on the case if they were a high conflict attorney who liked to litigate and was not resolution focused. And so sometimes the other attorney would end up being somebody we could work with very easily and get a good result. And sometimes you had the worst case scenario where they were highly litigious, and the parties ended up spending an incredible amount of funds that I felt were unnecessary to get a result. So the first reason I founded the network was to identify for the community and the public who are the attorneys who are resolution-focused, who do not have reputations for overbilling or being unnecessarily litigious. And so I was trying to find a neutral platform on the Internet that I could publicize, so to speak, who these individuals were that worked well together, that, really focused on the family. So the first idea was to kind of come up with a place to put those individuals that had a really good mindset towards resolution. And then the second was that I just kept seeing that particularly in Georgia, each county was having, sort of a different process for a divorce. Some counties would require you to appear in court within 30 days of a case being filed. Some were requiring mediation within 90 days of a case being filed, and every county was completely different. And Regardless, though, the process put forth by the court didn't help every family, and they needed a more individualized process. And so the Amicable Divorce Network came from these two ideas of trying to identify resolution-minded professionals and really good experienced professionals in the divorce area, not just attorneys, but therapists, real estate agents, insurance, mortgage brokers, all sorts of professionals that can help the parties. But also to come up with a personalized process for the divorce. And so in our particular situation, the attorneys come up with the process for what the parties need. It's not dictated by the court system.
Well, as founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, I have to tell you this is so wonderful for me to hear, because we strive to help every family get through an amicable divorce, especially because children are involved, and it's another layer, another level of potential conflict that can happen. And so I'm always looking for resources that I could refer clients to. As a coach, I refer them to attorneys and mediators and professionals who are very focused on trying to reduce the conflict, avoid the courts, stay away from litigation whenever possible, and simplify the process for everyone involved. And it sounds like what you've put together is just a wonderful solution for handling all that. So why don't you tell our listeners some of the advantages of working with an Amicable Divorce Network?
Yeah, sure. So on our website, which is amicableddivorcenetwork.com, we list all of our professionals. We list only members that have been vetted. So if an attorney applies to our network, they have to have at least 5 years of experience in family law, and that's across the board for our mediators, for our mental health professionals. So the network is not a networking group per se that people should be using to build their business. Mm-hmm. The people that we like to have in our network are established in the industry. They also have the experience to know how important it is to resolve a case outside of the court system. I think a lot of people have a perception as far as the public goes. You know, I would also often get questions like, can you be a bulldog? Are you going to fight for me? And, you know, certainly I was a litigator for many years. I've taken a step back from that now to focus only on amicable and uncontested divorce practices. But I would often want to answer the question when they would say, you know, can you fight for me? I'd be, who do you want me to fight with? Because it's expensive and it's costly, and that's not really the route to go. And the experienced professionals in our network know that. And I think you have to have been doing this for several years to kind of understand that that's what's best for people and for families.
Yes.
And, so everybody has to have a minimum level of experience to be in the network. And the network, we try to check all the boxes. You're not required to use all of the professionals in the network, but they're there for you. And we want the people that are on our website that you might call upon to assist you to be ones that, you know, we would refer with much confidence. So if you need an insurance person, if you need a real estate agent to help you sell your house, a certified divorce lending professional to help you with the mortgage, those are the people that are in our network. People can't just sign up and join. They have to be vetted and have to have minimum experience and things of that nature. So it's a good group of people.
It certainly sounds like it. It sounds like you've really thought the concept through. And you mentioned something that is particularly important to me, and that is about the will you fight for me? Mm-hmm. Too many family law attorneys who really promote themselves as pit bulls, and they talk about winning and losing. And in divorce, I really like to stay away from winning and losing, especially when you have family involved, especially, again, with kids, because when someone wins, we don't want someone losing in the same family. That does not sound like a healthy resolution. So I love the fact that you're steering clients away from that, helping them make that family-focused decisions that are going to be in the best interest of everyone. And when that happens, it's especially in the best interest of children, correct?
That's correct, yeah. We really have practitioners in our processes designed where we certainly advocate for what our client wants in the spirit of negotiating with the other side. But our goal is always to resolve things in mediation where the parties work to come up with a mutually agreeable resolution to their case, not where the judge is taking control of the case, where normally everybody ends up unhappy. But in mediation, as experienced practitioners know, there's never really a win. It is a compromise for the greater good of a resolution, and usually nobody walks out of mediation feeling like, oh, that was a slam dunk, but you walk away with a good result that everybody can live with, and hopefully that helps everybody move forward. Because when the divorce process is over, when you have these contentious litigations where people had to sling mud at one another to get what they wanted in the court system because that's how it's designed, that family has to move forward with two parents having to co-parent and having to be great co-parents in the eyes of the court or they're punished. And how can you possibly do that after you've had a very contentious litigation where you had to say ugly things about the other party to get what you wanted? So we're trying to really remove that level of animosity from the process altogether. We still exchange documents. We still negotiate, but it is not where you have to say bad things about the other parent to get what you want. We also do enlist other professionals if the family wants them, like parent coordinators, a specialized person that can sit down with them and help them work out a parenting plan. A lot of people are attracted to this process because of the care that we can take with those things. As many people know that go to court, the judge often has a book of parenting plans, and they just pick one for your family. Mm-hmm. Well, that might not work. Maybe, your child has problems with transition or has special needs, and certainly we have families of different cultures and faiths that have different holiday calendars, and so those need to be taken into account, and a lot of times they're overlooked in the court system. And so this process allows us to really take the time to come up with a parenting plan that's good for the child, can work for both parties if they have especially complicated work schedules. If you're in the medical field or a firefighter, you're going to have a very complex schedule that is not going to work well with the court-issued routine result. And so we can take the time to come up with something that's going to work for your family long-term. Not something that's a Band-Aid for the next couple of years, but something that is so good that you guys can continue to work with it long-term.
I love hearing what you're saying and totally endorse that. It's so important to the Child-Centered Divorce Network that we encourage families, again, to stay out of the courts, because when you put decisions into the hands of judges, no matter how well-meaning they are, they don't know your family. They don't know your family dynamics. And you're much more likely to be caught in solutions and resolutions and outcomes that aren't the right fit for you. And it's much harder to undo things and restructure it than it is to be putting it together to begin with by talking to people who are focused on being amicable and who understand that divorce involves a lot of compromise and resolution, and that co-parenting, as you mentioned, which is so important. When you end a divorce, you want to begin the co-parenting on the best possible level and with respect and a rapport between the two co-parents. And when you're leaving a divorce that's filled with tension and hard feelings and high conflict, you're much less likely to be able to start the process of co-parenting successfully. Mm-hmm. So it's not in anyone's best interest in the family to be taking that route. I'm going to stop us here for a real quick break. This is Rosalind Sedaka with Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Cece Schatz, and I'd like to welcome you to Going Solo Network, #1 complete singles connection. We strive to connect singles in a positive and fun way. Together, singles will begin to make new and lasting friendships, learn more about themselves, and embrace our new today lifestyle of going solo. Being single doesn't mean you have to be alone, and you can live a full, fun life, bringing your vibration to a higher level of attraction. Going Solo Network is an interactive social support singles community with several platforms helping singles connect with other like-minded individuals. We cover things like relationship loss, divorce recovery, embracing being single, single parenting, restructuring relationships, relationship building, transition into dating, and dating itself, solo in business, and going solo travelers. Be sure to join our private and exclusive fun interactive websites designed for singles today who want to begin to embrace living and enjoying the space they're in. Together we will learn to open our hearts, our minds. We will begin to share and connect with others while exploring our personal life goals as we begin to make a place in our new life. We will start to move forward in going solo to actually living our best lives. Going solo doesn't mean you have to be alone. Today, together, let's begin changing your life. Today, join the singles at Going Solo Network and start to live your new life. I'll see you there on GoingSoloNetwork.com.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Rosalind Sadaka. You're listening to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and we're talking to Tracy Ann Moore-Grant, who's a family law attorney and mediator and also the creator of the Amicable Divorce Network, which is offering wonderful alternatives to people who are getting divorced and want to have a less conflict and a more successful solution in the end. So Tracy Ann, I wanted to ask you if you could just share with us how the Amicable Divorce Network is different from traditional divorce so people are really clear about that.
Sure. So we settle the entire case prior to filing anything with the court system. The only reason that anything is filed with the court is that so that the divorce can be legally accepted by the court and the parties receive a final judgment and decree of divorce. But the goal is that all of the documents are filed on the same day so that our court system treats it as what we call an uncontested divorce. So how it's different is it's a streamlined process. It is still a process, so it is organized. But what generally happens is each party hires an attorney in the Amicable Divorce Network to represent them. The two attorneys talk and come up with a plan for the case, which we articulate in writing with our case planning form so that everybody knows what the deadlines are, what's expected of them. Whereas in a traditional divorce process, the court would dictate the deadlines. It would also start with the filing of a complaint for divorce, which is what we call it here in Georgia, where you have to complain about the other party and state the things that you want with the court system. The other party then has 30 days to respond in the court system. Our process really removes all of that. The two attorneys talk and decide, do we need to exchange documents? What are those documents? Is it to verify financial information or anything else that we might need to give the parties all the information they need to settle their case? We also have the parties exchange verified financial statements under oath that they sign in front of a notary. So it does have the penalty of perjury that they're exchanging that information about their finances so the other party can rely upon that for settlement. And the attorneys decide, do we need a mediation? If so, do we want to speed up the case and have the mediation rather quickly, or does this family need more time? We've had situations certainly where we've waited for somebody to be done with substance abuse treatment, or one party might be having a really hard time emotionally with the divorce, and so we want to take more care and time with that. Or where we need to consult other professionals. Maybe we have a complex financial picture involving a small business, and we need to get one of our business evaluators involved to help us here. In a traditional divorce, each side would hire their own professionals, their own business evaluator, to argue then with each other on what the answers are. In our process, we try to streamline it by both parties agreeing to utilize one of the experts, perhaps a business evaluator, use their opinion to help negotiate a settlement in their case. and to reach a resolution that way. And so we look at what the family needs, what this situation needs and doesn't need. We take out, all the fat, so to speak. In a traditional divorce, parties can serve really exhaustive discovery on one another, take tons of depositions if they want to. And a lot of attorneys, I hate to say in our industry, do that just to make money and try to drive up conflict. So, of course, we don't have those attorneys in our organization. But that's sort of removed from the process. We streamline it for the documents that as professionals we know we need. I don't need 5 years of bank records. That's not relevant. I need, most recent picture of some things. So we really try to get to the heart of the matter to move everybody forward with reduced conflict and reduced cost.
And I just wanted to emphasize that listening to you, it does sound like reduced cost is a very serious positive outcome of working with you, because you're cutting out so many levels of unnecessary time, hours, and contention. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, we really try to streamline the discovery process. We don't ask for things that we know the parties don't have. We are really catering the process to these parties. Several and most of the professionals in the Amicable Divorce Network, as far as the attorneys go, actually charge a reduced rate because they really want to attract these types of clients, because guess what? It's great for attorneys too. We're not screaming with another attorney on the phone. We have less stress when we're dealing with an amicable divorce. So attorneys want these kinds of cases that are in fact amicable. And so I charge a flat fee for these types of cases. Some of the other attorneys in the network charge a reduced hourly rate or a reduced retainer. Some also charge flat fee. So that's all detailed on our website on their individual profiles. They're encouraged to list their rates and to also compare them with a traditional divorce rate to show if they're charging a difference so that the parties are informed.
Excellent.
So we really try to put it all out there. And a question I also get quite a lot is, oh my gosh, what if the case is no longer amicable? What if something happens? You can always exit our process. We hope that people stay with it. A lot of times tensions do go high and low, of course, during a divorce, whether it's traditional divorce or amicable divorce. Everybody kind of goes on that roller coaster. So our professionals, we give training on how to keep cases amicable and how to identify the situations that actually do need court intervention. And so if for something horrible happens during your case that you do need to enter the court system, you can do that. Nobody's forced to have an amicable divorce. That wouldn't be very amicable. But we really try to keep people in the process that are right for the process and try to help them with the emotional aspect of it and, keep the reality and the goals, for them there. But we haven't had it happen yet. But if one of those situations occurs where somebody has to exit the process, they can. But we hope that they'll stick with it.
Yes. So let me ask you, is this something that's available only in Georgia, or is it beyond that?
It's currently available only in Georgia. We just started last year, and so it was really just kind of a local thing, and it just grew and grew and grew from there, where professionals actually were like, this is something I want to be involved with. I want to offer this to my clients. So we're right now expanding all over Georgia. We are looking at doing a national expansion of the concept, which will be under the Association of Amicable Divorce Professionals, which is going to be launching next year. That is going to be a little bit different of an organization in that it's going to be education-based, and when professionals go through our training, they would be receiving a certified amicable divorce professional certification, and then they'll be listed in our database as an amicable professional. The process that we have, we're comfortable using in Georgia because we know Georgia law. We know that it works for Georgia. So as far as the personalized process, we'll be scaling that out individually to different states when we have professionals in those states to help us do that to make sure that we're doing it properly. But right now, it's currently throughout Georgia.
Wonderful. And tell us how we can find you and learn more about it.
Sure. My law firm is Patterson Moore Butler, and if you Google that, you'll find us, but it's www.pattersonmoorebutler.com. We're in Forsyth County, Georgia. All of our professionals for the Amicable Divorce Network can be viewed at www.amicableddivorcenetwork.com. And in the middle of the page, you'll see Find a Professional, and you can sort by all the different industries that we offer as well as geography. Our membership is limited in that we only let a certain number of professionals in per county in Georgia to make sure that we can maintain the quality of our network, and the membership is based on the population of that county. So we have a rather tight network, but are expanding throughout Georgia right now.
Well, I'm very impressed with the concept, and I love what you're doing, and I love the reasoning and the thinking behind it. I think it's right on target for what we need, and it's especially useful now as we are going through the COVID pandemic to know that you work virtually as well as in office when it's appropriate. So you're covering all the bases. In the just a couple of minutes we have left, I wanted to ask you to give us your last thoughts. What's your takeaway for our listeners?
Yeah, I think that the one thing that's been so important is parties, often if you're getting a divorce, it's totally understandable that people have hurt feelings, that they're upset, that they're often very angry. But receiving justice, so to speak, unfortunately is not going to happen through the court system. As much money as you might spend trying to seek vengeance on the other party, you'll be disappointed. The court simply doesn't have the capacity to punish people for moral wrongs or to do things to people to make the situation right. It's far better to focus on healing and moving forward. Keep that money that you would have spent on that ugly litigation and take a dream vacation. Get yourself a new personal space and decorate it the way that you want, and use the funds on something positive for you and your family. And whether you're in Georgia or outside of Georgia, really try to ask any professional that you'd be hiring to represent you if they support your desire for an amicable divorce, to make sure that that professional is aligned with your goals, and ask all the right questions of them to make sure that they are. Often parties or attorneys and law firms will, advertise a lot and say that, they're aggressive and that they will fight for you. Make sure that you're getting the attorney in the process that you want and that's best for you and your family. A divorce is a short-term process. Your family will last forever. So make sure you're focusing on the right things.
Well, Tracy Ann Moore-Grant, you have said this all so beautifully and so well, and these are the same sentiments that the Child-Centered Divorce Network believes in, so I'm delighted that we had a chance to talk with you today and get your insight and wisdom, and we're wishing you much success with Amicable Divorce Network. And for our listeners, as you know, you could reach me and learn more about the Child-Centered Divorce Network at childcentereddivorce.com. We have e-books, e-courses, and programs, as well as personal one-on-one coaching on divorce and co-parenting issues, always putting the children's needs first so that your family is protected and safe and emerges in as loving a manner as is possible. So until next time, this is Rosalind Sadaka on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye for now.